Have you ever found yourself on a road that shouldn't exist? A stretch of highway where the lines blur between places, between times, maybe even between yourself and something else? Let me tell you about Route 13, a road that's haunted the forgotten hills of Appalachia for decades. It's the kind of story people whisper at bars or post about on forums, not because they believe, but because they fear it might be true. This is the story of Sam Carter, a freelance journalist chasing his latest high for clicks. Once he set out to find Route 13, he disappeared. What came out later wasn't just a tragic ending for Sam. It was worse, much worse. Sam Carter hadn't written anything worth bragging about in months. Clicks on his articles were drying up fast, and in the world of online journalism, hunger for relevance is like a flame. It burns out quickly if you don't feed it. That Friday night, Sam sat hunched over his laptop in his dingy Morgantown apartment, scrolling through threads on obscure horror forums. One title caught his eye: "You shouldn't look for Route 13." Post after post warned of the same thing. People spoke of an unmarked road somewhere near Morgantown, a cursed highway that erases you from the world. Once you're on it, it decides when you leave, or if you leave. A perfect mix of local legend and horror bait. Sam laughed to himself. Good PR for some backwoods road nobody cares about, he muttered. But as he combed through more stories, the details bothered him. People disappeared. The survivors, just a handful, described waking up days later with no memory of how they'd escaped. It was always the same thing: fog, static, distorted reality, and the whispers, always the whispers. By 9:30 p.m., Sam had decided viral gold waited for him in Appalachia. His camera gear and phone were packed into his old Chevy within minutes. By 10 p.m., he'd found one vague clue: Old Highway 6. Take the side road after the bridge. No sign. It feels wrong when you're there. Sam wanted it to feel wrong. That's where the story was. He found it faster than he thought he would. A narrow dirt path branching off the highway. Just as the fog rolled in, the wooden sign on the side was so weathered the words were nearly invisible. He squinted. Route 13, dead end. A thrill twisted in his chest. Perfect. The moment his tires hit the cracked pavement, the air changed. The quiet grew oppressive, like something had sucked the sound out of the world. Even the Chevy's engine seemed softer, swallowed up. Outside, the Appalachian woods hugged the road tightly, the heavy tree line webbing shadows that didn't feel right. His headlights caught one, a particularly long and jagged shadow, but it was gone before he could process it. Sam shook it off. His camera was already running. "This is Route 13, he narrated, forcing his voice to sound casual. Supposedly cursed. Let's see if the locals were right, or if it's just a bunch of spooky campfire nonsense." 2 miles later, the nonsense started feeling real. A rusted-out Chevy Impala sat abandoned in the middle of the road. The windshield was smashed, the hood crumpled like a car accident no one cleaned up. Its doors hung open. Papers from a briefcase were scattered, curling at the edges like they had been there for years. But it was the words scratched into the shattered windshield that made Sam stop the car entirely. "Leave." Sam hesitated. The word gnawed at him in a way he didn't want to admit. It was just a car, a setup probably. Locals trying to freak him out. He turned his camera toward the Impala. "Someone's trying too hard," he muttered. Then he drove around it. A few minutes later, his blood ran cold. The same Impala sat at the next bend. Same smashed hood, same burst tires, and that same word, "leave," crudely scraped into the windshield, staring at him through the fog. He slowed down, but didn't stop this time. Instead, his knuckles tightened around the wheel, and this time he didn't bother narrating for his recording. The second he passed it, his radio hissed with static. Then came the voice, a whisper, distant yet clear. "Turn back, turn back, turn back." The voice cracked off abruptly, and the frantic static left Sam's ears ringing. The fog thickened. His headlights barely cut through the suffocating gray, leaving the road ahead barely visible. The trees grew denser, their shapes unfamiliar now, bulging and jagged like something had clawed them into existence. Twice, he caught the glint of movement in the forest, but it was hard to tell. An animal or something worse. Sam gritted his teeth. His confidence from earlier was gone. Instinct was screaming at him to turn around, but pride and the tiny possibility of a viral scoop kept his foot on the pedal. Shortly after mile 10, the asphalt faded. The crushed gravel turned to dirt. Dirt to something worse. Sam barely noticed it first, but then the tires felt like they weren't moving. They were sliding. A wet squelching sound followed each rotation, matching the sensation of heavy, sticky resistance beneath his car. And the whispers, they came back. You're too late. Sam spotted it near the roadside. The first time, it was nothing more than a silhouette, just a person, or maybe a scarecrow. Thin, too thin. Its arms twisted at nearly 90-degree angles, twitching at the joints. He drove faster, but no matter how fast he went, the figure always reappeared, first next to the car, then closer, then clawing faintly at his driver's side window. When it turned its face to him, grinning with a mouth that stretched far, far too wide, Sam screamed. By mile 15, the road was gone. His wheels churned in a thick black tar that began pulling the car down. Overhead, there was no sky, only a void swallowing every shred of light. His camera's final recordings surfaced years later on the dark web, stitched in fragments of distortion. One frame, however, was clear. Sam sitting in his car, staring wide-eyed at his rearview mirror. Behind him, the grinning figure barely fit through the backseat door frame. The whispers were the last thing heard, crackling faintly. Now it's your turn. Days later, witnesses claimed a new roadside sign near Morgantown changed. Route 13, welcome. Thanks for tuning in to Dark Demon Tales, where the shadows come alive and the stories never quite leave you. If tonight's chilling story sent a shiver down your spine, or if you're questioning the next road trip you take, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family of fearless listeners. Oh, and don't forget to smash that bell icon so you never miss a new tale creeping out from the darkness. Your support keeps the shadows alive, and as you've heard tonight, we've barely scratched the surface of the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, but maybe not too curious. You never know if the next story might just be about you. Sleep tight, and as always, beware of what lurks in the dark.